Hello. Okay, so I'm super excited to do a live stream again. The last one I did, I think it was last week, went really well. So I decided to do another one. I first want to say, and it's really, really important that I'm clear on this, that I am no way like bashing anybody. I will never do that. I am not into bashing other people. I am not going to criticize somebody else's recovery program or somebody else's channel. That's not what I do. But I do want to talk a little bit about Derek Lambert and my thoughts on him. First, again, this is not like a bash session in any way. I am not criticizing him or his way of doing things or the videos he makes. Um, but he did upload a video this weekend that I thought was worth discussing. So, who's Derek Lambert? Okay, well, he is a YouTuber who he's got a few thousand subscribers. He's been around for about 3 years. And hold on, I'm gonna lose this. Hey, welcome. I'm so excited to have you. So you actually Derek Lambert actually called out Driven Industries for being an awesome channel in his video, one of his videos today, maybe earlier today. So if you haven't subscribed to his channel, I would highly recommend it. It's a really great channel, talks about mental health. So Derek Lambert, as I was saying, for those who don't know him, who haven't watched his channel, hey Matt, is he has talked about, so he started 3 years ago and he started uploading videos about his experience withdrawing from heroin, which I have to say was a very, very brave thing to do. I give him a lot of credit for opening up and sharing his experiences that way. I don't think it's something that a lot of people can really understand if they're not going through it. So I absolutely think that's wonderful. Again, I'm not bashing him in any way. This is not like shame on him. I have watched a couple other people do live streams about him, talking about his Patreon account and the way he makes money. Before we talk about Derek, I do want to make my opinions on making money talking about addiction on YouTube like super clear so that you guys can kind of know where I'm coming from. So, yes, I agree with some of like Real Talk Recovery talks a lot about how helping each other in recovery is free. Like there's a lot of 12-step programs out there. There's a lot of help out there that doesn't cost a cent. And that making money by sharing your experience or helping other addicts is kind of goes against that model. So I have a little bit of a varying opinion on it than Real Talk Recovery, though I 100% agree with what like her points. So the way I look at it is this: if you have enough subscribers and watch time on your channel where you're able to get ad revenue and you're able to make an income for yourself, I don't see anything wrong with that. YouTubers who talk about anything make an income on their channel once you hit the threshold. I think that's a positive thing. I think if we can help support people, especially people in recovery and the mental health industry who or who are experiencing these things, make a little bit of money so that they can continue to talk out loud, I don't see a problem with that. I also have a Patreon account. Now this is where my opinions vary a little bit. So I have a Patreon account because my hope is that I can continue making videos, that I can keep making videos regularly. Hey, These Four Walls, thanks so much. That's another channel who's really, really great. If you don't follow him, I would highly suggest it. I'm so excited to have you guys watching. So in regards to Patreon, my thoughts are, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a way for people who want to support what you're doing to support you financially. It it's hard. It takes time, right? Like running a successful YouTube channel. Now, look, I have 140 subscribers, so I am in no way like a YouTuber. This is not, I'm just telling you my thoughts. So, if you're able to be financially supported, if people out there want to help support you financially by paying you a little bit a month, I don't see anything wrong with that. On the flip side, I do think that there is a big problem if you're making money off of other people's suffering. That is a problem for me. So for example, on my Patreon account, I have one tier, not multiple tiers, just one. And all it says is if you want to help support me financially, I'll make a couple more videos a month where I'm a little bit more personal and share a little bit more insight into like who I am on a personal note as a way to say thank you and invite you a little bit further into my life. However, when you see people like Derek Lambert, who has multiple tiers on his Patreon account, where he is essentially selling his opinions and his thoughts and his contact to others, I think that does kind of present a little bit of an issue. Now, somebody had pointed out about some type of membership or something where I think it was him, where they like walk you through the 12 steps or something. If it's not him, maybe it was somebody else. That to me is wrong, because walking somebody through the 12 steps is something that is set up on purpose to be a free type of recovery. So like I would never charge somebody to do something that I would do for somebody free on the outside. So, okay. So I wanted to get that out there because I think it's important to know like where I stand on some of these bigger issues before we talk about the video that I saw that Derek Lambert did that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And again, just my opinion. So he did a video where they shared his wife's secret that apparently she's been dealing with addiction too. Now, Derek has about 3 years clean, I think, and his wife has kind of stood by him. Let's see. I am doing great. Thank you so much. Yes. I 100%, that's literally exactly how I feel. So I don't think making an income to be able to continue doing this, to make videos and to reach people is a bad thing. I do think that making money to like sponsor somebody is a problem, because that's not what this is about. So if somebody were to support me financially, what they're supporting is my ability to create more media, not my experience in recovery. Me sharing my experience in recovery, whether it's on YouTube or individually, is something that I would always do for free. It's not something I think I could ever charge for. So that's why I think it needs to be really clear. Yeah, so okay, that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about Derek Lambert's recent video when he was talking to his wife, where she had been explaining that she had apparently been suffering from addiction as well. She had been abusing, I think, Adderall and some type of opiate. And yeah, it did make me feel icky too. And I even wrote a comment. I was like, this video just rubs me the wrong way. There was something about the way he was speaking to her that made me feel like he was speaking down to a child. Now he's somebody who I've watched a few of his videos, and I watched a few today just to make sure that I kind of knew who he was and what he represented on YouTube. And I didn't see a problem with almost any of his videos. None of his videos really rubbed me that way. But this one in particular, it felt like because he had some clean time, he thought he was better than her. Because he, had some experience, it almost was like he was counseling down to her or something. And it made me feel weird watching. And look, again, this is just my thoughts, but I think what's important is, first of all, being in recovery and living with somebody who's abusing drugs in any form is really hard. I spent most of my recovery living with somebody who had to take pain meds. Yeah, I kind of agree that ego kind of got in the way there. I do feel like look, I'm an addict, right? So I know what it's like. We do have egos, right? Like we want to feel like, and I don't know about anybody else, but when I got clean and I found something that worked for me, like I wanted to make other people see it. I wanted to like shout from the rooftops, like, hey, you can get clean too. It's possible, don't give up. And so, sorry, my nose is running. So I feel like I can understand that desire to want to help other people and want to say like, look, this works for me. It could work for you. But I think we have to be really careful too of understanding that just because, yeah, as I said, I want to be really clear. I am in no way talking down to him at all. And I think that based on what I've seen, that he's doing a really good job of sharing the hope. 100%. This is not like a bash Derek video in any way. I just felt very uncomfortable with the way he talked to his wife in this particular video. Now, I watched another video where he spoke to his wife, and his wife was explaining, they were talking about like when he sold her laptop to the pawn shop and stuff. And I felt that was done very well. I thought she, I really felt for her, as somebody who's an addict and know the kinds of things I put my own family through. So again, this is in no way saying like, I can't believe he did that or what. That's not what this is. But I do think that as somebody who's in recovery, like I know for myself, like I have to watch to make sure that I don't think I know it all. Yeah, I agree too. I like most of his stuff. There was something off about that video to me, and it just, I don't know. I went through something similar as what he did. I went through a similar experience, and I don't know. I was grateful he uploaded another video today where they were both talking, and it helped me feel a lot better. Hey, Real Talk Recovery. I was just talking about how much I love you. Gosh, I have some of my favorite YouTube channels like watching my live stream. Do you know how awesome that feels? Gut Driven Industries, These Four Walls, Real Talk Recovery. If you guys haven't, if anybody else watching hasn't subscribed to like those channels, like do so. Like do it right now because they're awesome. But yeah, so you're the best. I think that I know for myself, like I just need to be really careful when I speak to people that I'm not speaking in a way that makes it sound like I know more. Like, yeah, I have 6.5 years clean, but that doesn't mean I know anything more. They have kids, and to put it out there, wife is abusing is just wrong. Yeah, I do agree that Derek means well. I 100%, you can see that through all his videos. I don't think in any way, like, I don't think he was doing this to like get views. I don't think that he was like, oh, this is great drama for YouTube. Like, I don't think that. Yes, I agree. We're just one day away. Absolutely. And so I think his motives were good. I think his wife was really brave for allowing that. She said in the video today that, she 100% agreed. And I wrote in a comment to that video, like, I was happy to hear that because I wasn't really sure watching it yesterday how, even though he said it was okay. Aw, thank you so much. I'm really glad you guys like my channel, It could be super dangerous. And I think, what happens is too, is that we want to make sure that we're not using our experience as the only experience. My experience with getting off opiates and getting clean is not going to be the same as somebody else's experience. Like we all have such an individual experience with addiction and recovery. Thank you so much. You guys are so great. You have no idea how much I love you guys. But yeah, so I try to make sure that like I don't think that the suggestions I can give are like the best ones. I also like, okay, going on something different for a second. I was on Twitter yesterday having a conversation with somebody who had very different views than me on balance and recovery. I had a few people tell me that balance, even talking about balance and recovery is like a cop out and a way to say like recovery is not your number one priority. They also had kind of made a hit as to, NA is not as good. Thank you. I do try to be objective. And they were saying that they thought AA was better than NA. And my response was not, even though I'm a member of NA, I'm not defending the program. That's not what this is about. Yes, there's a lot of different ways to recover. So my response to him was like, look, the reality of it is that we can't statistically say if 12-step programs are the way to go. For some people, they're super successful. For others, they're not. Some people do great in AA and they hate NA. And some people love NA and don't do well in AA. Recovery is such a personal thing. Yeah, I don't ever think that you're aggressive. I do think you're passionate. And I love when people are honest about things. I think that the more honest we are about where we're coming from, look, there's going to be people who watch my videos and can't relate. There's going to be people who listen to what I say and be like, I don't feel that way. That's fine. But like maybe there's somebody else out there who they listen to and they're like, that's me. Like that's how I get my help. Like that's great. The whole purpose of talking publicly about addiction and recovery, not just addiction. Look, I can come up here and I can share all the stories about everything I went through, and I will share some of that stuff as time goes. But when I started a channel, it was because I realized that although there's a lot of people talking about addiction, Thank you. I'm so glad that you find that you can relate to what I'm saying, because I try really hard to stay open-minded and be relatable. Yes, we absolutely look for identity and connection, because I feel like when I was looking before I decided to start a channel, I used to help a nonprofit run their YouTube channel. So I had a lot of experience with like the back end on how things worked. And that's kind of like what I do. Like I help people with their social media and like businesses, nonprofits. And so I was thinking that like, I looked online and I saw that there was a lot of videos about addiction. Like the horror stories about the kind of stuff that we did to get the next high are like, they're interesting. People like to hear, look, we like watching train wrecks. Like that's, when there's a car accident, the traffic is caused by rubbernecking, not from the actual accident, you know? It's easy to talk about drugs and talk about what Xanax or opiates are like. We all know that we are addicts. Yes, we're trying to help people recover. So what I wanted to do is just talk about my experience in recovery, the feelings I get in recovery, how I get through hard things while I stay clean. It's not as exciting. It's not as like, it's not something that's going to like go viral and be like, oh, wow, did you hear about how she stayed clean when she was sad? Like that. It's just not exciting. But I felt like maybe it could be helpful. There's a lot of people in recovery who can't openly talk about being in recovery. So by me speaking out loud on a channel like this, it helps me reach people who maybe can't speak about their recovery. Yes, people want drama and excitement. That's exactly it. Yes, I appreciate the fact that, like, look, sometimes we're afraid to go out and get the help we need. Yes, clickbaiting is super easy. And like I could, and you know, well, I'm glad that you feel like my channel is a safe place. And I agree. Like, I don't think being clickbaity is a good idea. And I have to say, like, in going back to Derek Lambert, I do think his message is good. Like, I think the fact that you can see somebody who's very relatable, very real, I feel like he would do better if didn't feel like he had to. He talks in a way where it's like he's trying to school you, right? Like he's trying to, like he's almost saying like, you feel like this, right? And you when you did this, this is what you were thinking, right? And it's like, yeah, well, that's the thing. Nobody wants to hear something fake. They want real help, especially with addiction and recovery. Look, there's a tons of clickbait stuff. But the fact is, like, I want to see how other people were able to stay clean. I want to know how they got through regular everyday problems and not use drugs. Yes, I agree. I think his intentions are good, but he does come across like a salesman, especially, as I said, not all his videos, but that particular one with his wife when she was hurt and crying and the way he was talking about her. Yeah, I agree. I think that if he just shared his experience, like, how are you getting through that? How did that make you feel? I'm not worried about what she's feeling. She can tell me. I want to know how this makes you feel. How do you feel when you find out your partner has been abusing drugs? How does that make you feel? Because as an addict, that's still something we feel and have to get through. I don't, she can come on and make a video and talk about how that experience was for her. But for him to try to describe to us how she's feeling, I think that's what made it cringy for me. Like I want to know, like, if he made a video and instead of focusing on her being like, oh my gosh, like, all right, so my wife finally told me I can talk about this out loud. Apparently she's been abusing drugs and this is how this makes me feel. I think I would have related it much, much better. Yeah, making a video about personal stuff is hard. Like I haven't even gotten close to sharing about my experience with my ex-husband and stuff, and I'm not sure when I'll feel comfortable talking about those things in such a public platform, especially because like my kids watch this. It's actually one of the reasons why, like, I set myself up to have a more personal way of making videos also, because this is public, and I'm very public about the fact that I'm in recovery, but obviously, like, I want to be able to talk about things. Yeah, look, a lot of times, like, people, constructive criticism can be hard to hear, especially for addicts, and I feel like a lot of times, like, look, this is probably going to come out really wrong, but I feel like it does kind of say where your recovery program's at. Like, I know, Yeah, no, I think it's good to go to the person first. And like as I said, I wanted to make sure, and I know keep saying it over. Like, this is not a bash Derek. Like I'm subscribed to his channel. Like I watch his videos. Like I want to support anybody else who's doing recovery type YouTube videos. I think that we're a really great community together, and being able to help each other grow is amazing. That's that's what this is about. And when I first started, like immediately I fell like right into this group of you guys, and I feel so welcomed and loved, and it's good for my own recovery. But like I'm going to take constructive criticism. Like the people I have in my life that are most important to me call me out on my when I'm not doing the right thing. They're the first people that tell me like, "Hey, you're not calling people," or "Hey, you're not going to enough meetings," or "You're isolating," whatever it is. Like I need people to talk to me about that stuff. Look, I think we're all a little crazy. No, and not everybody's in the same place in the recovery. They always say like some are sicker than others. Yes, we have to stay accountable. And like the way I stay accountable is by listening to constructive criticism, by not getting defensive when people call me out on things. It's not always comfortable. Like, trust me. And also, I apologize for like the focusing in and out of my camera because I'm moving around so much. My camera's just like super mad at me. So I'm sorry about that. But well, thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate it. I hope your mom's doing okay. Send tons of love from us to her, and reach out if you need anything, because that's what we're here for. I don't know. I have a hard time. Bye, guys. Thank you. So glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm not always going to agree with people either, and some criticism I get, I'm just not going to agree with. Like it's not going to be something I find helpful, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to listen. And I think that the more we open ourselves up to hearing other people's perspectives, the more we grow. Even if we don't take their suggestions or criticisms, like we can still grow from it. We can still see ourselves through a different viewpoint. And I have a hard time when people talk about their experience, like because they went through it. Like as I said, I have over 6 years clean. I don't think that I have this. I don't talk to people like I've I've gotten recovery and now I can tell you how to get better, right? Like no, I can only share my experience. I agree. I think getting back to the basics is helpful for anyone. And for him, when you're living with somebody else who's dealing with addiction, uh that's crisis for both of you. It's not an easy situation. Like that's something that you both really need to like hold on to recovery as much as you can. Yes, humility, that's a huge part of it, because like look, any one of us could fall out at any time. Yes, it is absolutely crisis when you are in recovery and someone in your house is dealing with active addiction. That's crisis. That is recovery crisis. Like it is so much easier. They always say, my favorite line that I've ever heard in recovery is, it's a lot easier to knock somebody down than to pick somebody up. That's the truth. It is so much easier to drag somebody down than it is for you to lift them up. And so I think we have to, you have to be careful. Like I lived in a household of my drug of choice in recovery for a long time. And I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. That was the hardest thing I ever did. But I talked about it. It is ego. It is hard because look, you want to do what makes people come back to your channel, right? Like you want to, I get it. Like I do, I get it. And like as I said, I've worked on bigger channels before. Like the nonprofit I work for, they had over 100,000 subscribers, and like I ran their entire channel. And a lot of it was about how to bring people back, how to get views, right? But we never clickbaited. We never, like, they had their moral and ground and they stuck with it. Like if it didn't match their mission, like they didn't do it and it didn't matter. And I think that those of us in recovery, like, look, our channels will grow as they're going to grow. There's enough people in recovery. The fact is that the clickbaity stuff right now is what's attracting the attention, but that's not going to last. CJ Kid, yeah. Yeah, well, it's sad. Like, I've talked to him a few times, and YouTube is absolutely an addiction. So, like, when I started, I had made a determination that I was going to upload videos. Like, I planned everything out before I started. I'm going to upload videos twice a week. And then last week when I did a live stream, I was like, oh, that was fun. It went well. And like when I see something now, like maybe I'll do it again. Um, but we do have to watch ourselves, like you really need to look at like creating a YouTube channel as your job and keep boundaries. Like, look, I don't make any money off of making a YouTube video, right? But like I keep boundaries with it. Like the last week, my son was like, oh, I want to come on your live stream because he live streams on his channel. And I was like, no, you can't do that because I want to make sure that this stays safe. And bringing my children into this right now is not where I think is good for them. And, it doesn't help anything. And if anything, it can put them in harm's way because I'm openly telling people that I have a drug addiction. Like, and that may change, but yeah, it feels good when people when people like my video, when I gain another subscriber. Hey, great to see you. When I gain another subscriber, like that feels good. Like there's absolutely like getting likes on videos, like that feels amazing. When I see people comment who are like, good job, like that all feels good. And it feels good to feel good. But I think what we have to watch for though is making sure that we're not changing who we are for the likes. Yeah, staying connected is a really important thing. And I thought the video that Derek did a little while ago that he uploaded was where his wife and him were in the car and they were talking about the last video was good because I was a little worried when he posted the video, I think it was yesterday, I guess, where he was talking with his wife. I just wanted to, I said it a little while ago, like it felt very much like he was kind of talking down to her and feeding the lines like, you feel like this, right? This went through your head, right? And it's like, look, if she wants to come on and share how this is feeling for her, yeah, like I know she gave permission. I know she said she was okay with it, but I feel like for a situation like that, when you're going through it, she should talk about that to us as she's ready. I would have loved for him to explain what he was feeling. I didn't need him to tell me what his wife was feeling. I've been there. I know what she was feeling. But how is he feeling? What worries does he have? Well, how is he going to move past this? What is he going to do to protect his own recovery? Those are things that I want to hear. Like it's real easy for me to talk about what. Oh, absolutely. Look, again, I said this before like a gazillion times. I'm going to say it again. Like I am not bashing Derek Lambert in any way. I subscribe to his channel. I watch his videos. I think his intentions are very, very good. I think he's trying to do a good thing. So like I am in no way like dissing him at all. The only problem that I had was with his last video with his wife. Not the one he just posted like an hour ago, like the one he posted yesterday. And I'm sorry about my nose. It's running and I want to get tissues, but then I'd be off camera and I'm like, I'll just take care of it in a minute. But like, I think we want to make sure that when we're making videos that we're talking about ourselves and our own experience. It's real easy for me to tell you what I think other people are feeling. Like it's really easy for me to be like, oh, well, as I said, I was in a very similar situation as Derek and his wife. Both sides. Like I was in both places and it's not easy. And I could absolutely tell you how I think somebody else is feeling about it. But I think what's important is talking about how I feel about it. Like, how are you going to get through the fact that your wife is abusing drugs? How are you going to get through that? How is your marriage going to survive? How do you feel? Are you hurt? Are you angry? Like, we know what she's feeling and she can tell us in her own time. I think for myself, what I try to do is I keep the focus on my thoughts. I try to only talk about what I think and my experience. And I never try to put my thoughts and feelings into somebody else's head or mouth, Well, thank you so much. So I am going to wrap this up. It's been about a half an hour and I don't want to make it any longer than that because, that's a long time to listen to somebody talk. But I want to thank you all so much for watching and for joining in the conversation. I think my favorite part about live streams is having other people comment and being able to talk back and forth about any topic. So, my email's on my channel. If you ever want to send me an email, I've gotten a few about topics to discuss and I'll absolutely do it. You want to hear it, I'll talk about it. Like that's what we do here. So, thank you all so much. I hope you have an awesome rest of your weekend and I will see you on Tuesday. Have a great day, everyone.